Hi students, in that lesson, Origin and Evolution of Life, we have to discuss the following aspects. 1. Geological time scale. What is geological time scale? This is nothing but chronological dating. Chronological dating. What is chronology? So this is chronological dating. Chronology, the study of time. So it is actually a system of chronological dating that relates the strata of rock or the rock strata to time. So we are relating the rock strata to time so that one can find out the date of the earth. That's called the dating. Now it is used for geologists, also paleontologists and earth scientists to describe the timing and the relationships that have occurred during the Earth's history. The relationships and the timing that have occurred during Earth's history. That's about geological time scale, and accordingly the entire period of Earth is divided into many eras. So this is a hierarchy of geological time scale. One era. Era is divided into many periods. The periods, each period is divided into epoch. For example, we have Paleozoic era, Cenozoic era, Mesozoic era, like that. The periods, Triassic period, Jurassic period, Cretaceous periods, and also the epoch. We have different epochs, Eocene, Oligocene, etc. It's not necessary for you. Anyway, this is what is called actually the entire period of the Earth history, divided into many eras, into periods and epochs, and that is called chronological dating according to the time and also the Earth's crust, the strata, the layers. We can just actually contribute the different plants and animals that lived during that particular period. This is called geological time scale. What is ethnobotany? It is a study of regional plants and their practical uses through the traditional knowledge of local culture of people. Through the traditional knowledge that is normally available from the people living in that area, one can able to explain the useful nature, the practical uses of the plants, not by means of advanced technology, only from the local people's knowledge. We can gather information about the useful plants which are living in that particular area. Now the term ethnobotany was given by J.W. Harsberger in 1895. So in that actually according to him, he included the plants. So he just made this study, that is ethnobotany, to include plants that can be used normally by the primitive and that is actually the people, the tribal people, aboriginal people or the tribal people living there. That's why he included this system. Though this system existed for a long time, for ages. Now, the importance of that one, that is what we can say, the importance and also its explanation is given with a distinct approach, with a distinct knowledge of this ethnobotany, to include that one in the branch of that is what is called natural science, in academic science, was normally presented in the 20th century only. So that's about ethnobotany. What is ethnobotany? Who is actually J.W. Harsberger. Now what are the aspects of ethnobotany? What are the aspects? It has relevance with problems of, or it is related to the problems of one. That is the nutrition, the different modes of nutrition. So it has problems with actually the mode of nutrition, health care, and also the various life systems. So it has relevance with what is called actually the different modes of nutrition, healthcare, life systems, faith in plants. Faith in plants. That means the plants have the ability of giving some medicines to cure the disease, so that people should faith in plants. Then cottage industries. Cottage industries. Cottage industries. Then conservation of biodiversity. Conservation of biodiversity. Conservation of biodiversity. And also sustainable use. Sustainable use of plant resources. Sustainable use of plant resources. So, it is relevance with the problems of that is nutrition, healthcare and life systems, faith in plants, then cottage industries, conservation of biodiversity, then sustainable use means normal use, not over exploitation. Normal use of plant resources for a long period of time. These are the different aspects of ethnobotany. Different aspects of ethnobotany. Now, what are the uses? What are the advantages of ethnobotany? It provides the traditional use of plants. It provides traditional use of plants. Traditional use of plants. As such plants are available, the medicinal plants are being used for different purposes, and that is called traditional use of plants. Traditional use of plants. So this is advantage number 1. The different advantages. 1, traditional use of plants. So it helps to find certain unknown and the known useful plants. To find known and unknown useful plants. Now we have ethnomedicinal data. The ethnomedicinal data actually can be useful. Normally it is useful in providing just actually useful information for different people who are in that field. For example, the chemist, the pharmacologist and the practitioners of herbal medicine. So the ethnomedicinal data provides, or it can be useful for actually the persons. It provides useful information for persons. For example, the chemists, pharmacologists and also the practitioners of useful medicine or herbal medicine. This is number 3. Actually providing information. The ethnomedicinal data provides useful information for these people to work. Then lastly, we have tribal communities. The tribal communities utilize the different ethnomedicinal plant parts. Ethnomedicinal plant parts. For example, the root system, the stem, the bark, the flower, the fruits, the seeds, and also the secretory products, the oil, the gums, the resin and dyes. For the treatment of various diseases, for example, diarrhea, headache, fever, diabetes, jaundice, leprosy, snake bite, etc. So, the tribal people utilize the various ethnomedicinal plant parts for the treatment of different diseases. So, these are the different advantages of ethnobotany. Hi students, we have to discuss about another branch of science, what is called astrobiology or exobiology. The study of life of the universe, other than what is called the earth. Extraterrestrial means the life that occurred in other planets of the universe. So it is a branch of science that deals with the presence of extraterrestrial life, that means other than earth, in the universe. It's a simple definition, a branch of science that deals with the presence of extraterrestrial life in the universe. Other than the earth, we have also life in other planets. Or exobiology, what is called astrobiology, is a study of origin, evolution and distribution of life, and to investigate the possibility of life investigate the possibility of life in other world. In other world means extraterrestrial, that is in the universe, in other planets. So that's about astrobiology. Now, the main concept of astrobiology is habitable zone. Habitable zone. The main concept of biology, exobiology, is habitable zone. Now, normally, what is habitable zone? Now, this concept explains that each and every planet, that means any planet, can support the existence of life. Any planet can support the existence of life. That is called actually the concept behind astrobiology. So, the main concept of astrobiology is habitable zone. This states that any planet can support the existence of life. That is what is called actually habitable zone. If they just actually fulfill, any planet fulfill the following two criteria. So when they are fulfilling the following two criteria, then they are considered as a habitable zone that is suitable for living. Now what are the two criteria? It must have, the habitable zone must have right mass weight, must have right mass. So, any planet can support the life of an organism. That concept is behind habitable zone. So, a habitable zone is the one which must have right mass to retain atmosphere. Another one, the planet must have a right orbit. Right orbit. At a distance from its what is called the stars, at a right, or we can say at the right distance from its stars, from its stars. So a planet might have right orbit at the right distance from its stars. A distance should be actually maintained. For example, Sun is a star for the Earth. Sun is a star for the Earth that allows liquid water to exist. That allows liquid water to exist. So, the time needed to be neither hot nor cold. So, the distance need to be, we can say in this way, not the time, the distance need to be maintained. So, for that one, it should be neither too hot nor too cold. And this actually zone is often described as or referred as Goldilocks zone. This habitable zone is aptly called as Goldilocks zone. So, according to the just a second criteria for any planet to have a life, it must have a right orbit and the right distance from its stars. For example, Earth is placed at right distance from the Sun, that allows liquid water to exist. So, the distance needed to be neither too hot nor too cold, and that distance and that zone is often referred as Goldilocks zone. So only when you have the Goldilocks zone, then only the life is possible. Now in the solar system, Earth is the only, just actually the planet that is found in the Goldilocks zone. As the stars evolve, at times, other planets also have the ability of developing this Goldilocks zone in developing their life. One such planet is Mars. So the Mars also believed to have certain creatures. These creatures are similar to those creatures living in extreme environmental conditions of the Earth. So when the stars evolve, at times other planets also have developed what we have the creatures, or we have the system, Goldilocks solar system, and so that they had some creatures, and these creatures are similar to what we have the creatures which live in the extreme environmental conditions of the earth. Now I mentioned about. Now those organisms which are living in extreme environmental conditions are called actually extremophilous. Extremophilous. Extremophilous or extremophils organisms, extremophils or extremophilous organisms. Those organisms which live in extreme conditions are all extremophils. That means some organisms are living in extreme, that is what is called cold conditions or extreme acidic conditions, or some organisms are living in extreme salt conditions. So extremophils or extremophilous organisms may be what is called acidophils, or halophils, etc. Halophils, etc. For example, the archaebacteria can survive in a medium extremely acidic. And halophils means organisms living in extreme salt conditions. So anyway, the organisms which are living in extreme environmental conditions are all actually extremophils. Now, as we have in a solar system, different regions are present which are different from the earth. So, in these areas, there is a possibility of extremophilous bacteria, extremophilous bacteria. So, in a solar system, we have different areas. These areas are different from the earth, and there is a possibility of having extremophils or extremophilous bacteria in these regions. So, we have a number of organisms which are living in extreme conditions, either acidophils or halophils or thermophils. Thermophils means actually they are living in extreme temperature conditions. So this is all about what we have, that is astrobiology or exobiology, referring to the extraterrestrial life in what we have the different planets or the different parts of universe. The following is an example for extremophils, that is the extremophilous organisms living in extreme conditions. Now you can see in Megmaddo, this is the Megmaddo dry valley of Antarctica. There we have diversity of microbial organisms, that is in sandstones and granites, and that is the best example for thermophils or extremophils living in actually the cold situations. In Antarctica, you know that one extreme cold, and there you have actually the plants are living. That's nothing but the microbial organisms. These are nothing but the fungal forms which can tolerate extreme cold conditions and living there. So this is also actually an example showing that in different environmental conditions, in different parts other than what we have the normal living place, we have the diversity of microorganisms. So this is the last part of the episode, the last part of the lesson. So I conclude that lesson, what we have origin and evolution of life. And we have to go for the next topic, the structural organization of animals, the next part about leech and then the rabbit. Thank you.